Joining us now, Chad Wolf, former Trump acting DHS secretary. Chad, expediting the vetting process from a terrorist hotbed like Afghanistan, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, Laura, when you're dealing with the number of people that we're looking at today, the vetting process for our special immigrant visas is a multi-step process. And so anytime that you're going to expedite that, and it's usually a process that will last several weeks into months, where you've got to validate their passport, their birth certificate, proof that they actually worked as a translator for 12 months, proof that they've gone through a DOD background check, letters of recommendation, then CBP, DHS, Customs and Border Protection, will do also terrorist watch list checks. This takes weeks and weeks and weeks. And so if you now have an administration talking about expediting that with the number of people that we're seeing, there's going to be corners that are going to be cut. And you're going to, the concern here is people slipping through those cracks. So anytime that you're going to expedite the screening process and the vetting process, that invites a lot of trouble. And I would say if it was properly planned out to get Americans out, to get these SIV individuals out, they would have had time to properly vet them over the course of several weeks instead of days.
I mean, all of that is all well and good, Chad. I don't trust anything these people are saying after what we have seen unfold at our southern border and in Afghanistan. I don't trust them. Okay, and I think I have good reason not to trust them. But I mean, yeah, if you were in charge of it, I'd feel better about it. But we just learned that officials are projecting 25,000 will arrive at these 4 military institutions. Fort Bliss and El Paso are one of the installations selected by the military.
Right.
25,000. We got a lot of translators and interpreters, apparently. I didn't know we had that many.
Well, what we also know is that DHS is paroling the vast majority of these individuals into the country and then doing a lot of these checks and looking at their applications after the fact. So that's why we're seeing the vast amounts of individuals coming in, landing at Dulles and landing at other individual airports across the country, is that they're doing a lot of these checks. And
Chad, how much does this cost?
I'm sorry, how much does it cost?
How much does it cost per refugee? Well, I saw that broken down at one point when we were bringing the Somalis in to Maine and Minnesota. But the American people are footing the bill, so they deserve to know ultimately even how much that will cost.
Well, it's going to be significant. A lot of the checks being done by the Department of Homeland Security are done through the National Vetting Center and CBP, and then USCIS also does a number of checks. So you've got multiple entities within the department that are doing checks and looking at these applications. So it's tying up resources. These are also some of the same folks that are looking at asylum applications and other things that are going along that southwest border as well.
And then the cost of the refugees over decades. I mean, over a long period of time.
Well, that's correct.
Which we
don't know. A lot of these individuals, a lot of these individuals apply and get benefits once they come into the country as well.
It's a huge amount of money, and some of them need to be paroled in, but that's a lot of people. Chad, thank you.